All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. And thank you so much for joining me for this info session on the Productivity Masterclass and a bit more about how we at the Productive Muslim Company think about productivity. So this session really is introduction to how we as Productive Muslim Company, how we perceive productivity, how we describe productivity, how we understand productivity, and also answer the questions that we send by email. What does it mean to be productive? Are you really being productive? Or are you just being busy? Some of the harms of hustle culture, which we sent out by email as well. So this session is two parts. The first part is as I said, introducing you to how us as Productive Company over 15 years of research have come to understand productivity and how we teach about productivity. And then we'll spend some time explaining what we'll cover in the Productivity Masterclass that's starting tomorrow at 6 p.m. So if you're interested to learn more about the Masterclass, you just sign up for the Masterclass. This is the session where you ask questions, where you can maybe find out what's it like, kind of get an idea of how you're going to get more from the Masterclass and so on and so forth. So we have a group of people here that are joining us from all over. If you can just type in the chat, let me know where you're dialing in from. Just let me know to kind of like just understand which part of the world you're all from. Just make sure that I'm conscious of people's time. Is it good morning? Is it good night? Is it good, good afternoon where you are? I am going to guess that we have few from Southeast Asia. Yes. Oh, Southern California. There you go, Thomas, mashallah. Thank you for joining Southern California. Must be a bit earlier for you. Thank you for joining because it's already dark here in Dallas, but I'm sure it's still sunny in Southern California, Thomas. Who else? Who else we got here who's joining us? We got Nabila, a little sunny. Yeah, give us some of the sun, man. Alhamdulillah. All right, who else we got? We got two Thomases on this call. Thomas Asili, Thomas Brands. I'm sure the same Thomas or not. Sanad, Canada, Edmonton. Thanks for joining. Haris Sharif, welcome. Widya, welcome. Rashida Noor Aini, welcome. QP, welcome. Thomas from Belgium, thank you so much. Always great support. Let's see, Amina is joining us. Widya, thank you from Indonesia. Thank you for joining us. Tabassum, welcome Tabassum. And Nabila also. We also got Samba Abdurrahman and a few others trickling in as we coming. Haris from UK, thank you. It must be very late for you. Thank you so much for joining us at this hour. Appreciate it. Amina, Dallas, welcome. Yay. So welcome from Dallas. Good stuff. All righty. So let us get started. Just to understand, how many of you are completely new to Productive Muslim Company, who have you've never heard of us before, or have not attended many of our workshops, or just first time for you to come across our work, or just a little bit know where you are? How many of you are kind of new to Productive Muslim Company or Productive Muslim in general? Just make sure that I'm going to see how many people are, so I can either skip the introduction or make sure I go over it. So any sort of newbies here, or all of you are like, yep, we've been through workshops, kind of know half of the stuff you're going to talk about. We memorize your jokes by now. Let's see where we are. Any person who's new to the company, new to our work, first time for them to be attending a workshop? Let's see. You can raise your hand, or you can type in the chat. Make sure to get an idea of where you are. First time, Widya. All right, welcome, Widya. Thank you for joining us. Let's see, anyone else who's a first timer? Okay, just make sure that we got. All right, first time, Amanda. Thank you for joining, Amanda. Appreciate you being here. This is a wonderful community. Whether you join our programs or not, this is a wonderful community, and something we'll be talking more about this as well, inshallah. Awesome. All right. Well, let me then, for the first timers, if I may, again, if you're not been a first timer or know this part, but just make sure the first timers, they understand who we are and what we do. So Productive Muslim Company is a faith-based productivity and leadership training and coaching company. So we specialize in bringing spirituality to productivity and leadership workshops. We've been doing this for 15 years. Some of you might remember the old blog, Productive Muslim blog. It kind of evolved over time to become this training company. And now we kind of specialize in thought leadership. So we do, if you look at our articles, where we introduce concepts like the Go Hijri concept, like the Baraka culture concept, like how Shaitan influences the workplace. So we kind of bring thought leadership, connecting spirituality to basically the modern workplace specifically, but also modern life as well. So we try to tackle some of the challenges we have as a person, inshallah. We also do private training and executive coaching. So for those of you who are for companies, organizations that have a team that would like us to do private training, we do that with them. Also executive coaching for managers and executives who are trying to become productive, but in a way that's in line with their faith. We also do masterclasses, which we'll talk about today. And of course, we also have products. If you ever go to our shop, if you go to our website, check out the store, we have a number of books and journals and posters and cards and all sorts of practical faith-based tools to help you live a better version of yourself. And finally, we do retreats. We do retreats, global retreats. We've done it in Sri Lanka, Indonesia. We have some exciting ones coming up next year as well, inshallah ta'ala, is we actually meet in person. So we're not just a virtual company, we also meet in person, inshallah ta'ala. Myself, I'm Anis Ahmed Faris. I was born in Tanzania, in East Africa, grew up in Saudi, in the UK. I currently live in Dallas, Texas. Don't ask me how that happened. It's just one of those stories that will take about 5 DVDs to complete. I'm the founder and CEO of the Productive Muslim Company and author of the book, The Productive Muslim, Faith Meets Productivity, as well as author of this new little journal called the Barakah Journal, which again, you'll find in our store. You can't see it because it's too dark, but check out the Barakah Journal. And we've made it my life mission to spread Barakah culture. And I'll talk about Barakah culture today. And I love life cycling and rowing. Any cyclists in the room? Any cyclists in the room? Anyone who's big time cycling? Even if you just go around the pond like twice. Any cycling? Yes, no, maybe. No raising hands. All right, I need to get you guys bikes. There we go. Harris, welcome. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, that's it. You're my favorite. No, I'm kidding. Cycling is very special for me. All righty. So let's get started. And I want to get started with this question, which if you have been through my programs, you're not allowed to answer this question. If not been through my programs, I'd like to ask you the question, what is productivity? Like, how do you define productivity? When you hear productivity, what comes to mind? Feel free to unmute yourself, by the way, if this is a meeting, just, by the way, if anyone's kind of brave enough to put on the videos, please do. I like to kind of make sure I'm talking to people, not ghosts. So please feel free to put your video on and just open your mic and just share where, there you go, Thomas, thank you, promise, appreciate you. The two Thomases, there's two Thomas in the room. First time, I think, is it? All right. So Thomas Sami is saying getting important tasks and goals done. All right. Okay, that's classic definition, Thomas. I have to differentiate Thomas V and Thomas S or something like that. I need to differentiate the two, otherwise it'd be too many Thomases. What else? What comes to mind? What is productivity? What comes to mind? By the way, if someone, you guys are muting yourself because I think I'm not hearing you. Hold on a second, let me double check. If you're muting yourself, please do. And share. All right. What is productivity? By those who attend my masterclass know that it is very interactive, so they have to answer questions and think. I know it's end of the day or begin the day, depending which part of the world you're coming in from, but please do share. All right, so Harris, doing things which help us reach our goal. All right, we're getting important stuff done, goals done. What else? Let's hear another one. One more. All right, create more results with limited, lesser resources. Nabila, love that. Yes, classic. That's a classic definition, more output over input. And that's actually the definition that kind of started this whole modern science. But let's go a bit about the history of productivity, because I think sometimes to understand how did we get to this point where everyone's now obsessed with productivity? Well, if you think about productivity as a science, generally speaking, the idea of productivity as a science or as a management science started with this man called Frederick Winslow Taylor. And he basically was a consultant for an iron factory or a pig iron factory. And he was obsessed with figuring out how can we get the workers to do more with less time. And he did this, work motion studies, did this all sorts of, techniques. He called the scientific method of management. And he was able to, in some cases, double, triple production as a result of his method. Now, there is one slight problem with this approach. The first thing is that he actually lied about his results. There's a book called The Management Myth that talks about how Frederick Winslow Taylor unfortunately lied about his results just to basically prove his point that his methods work. He was exaggerating his methods more than they needed to be. And the second thing is that what is the problem when we start treating human beings as though they are machines? Think about that. When we start treating human beings as though machines and we're trying to squeeze every drop of blood out of them for economic purposes, what's the problem with that? What's the issue there? No ownership, Qasim. What else? It wears people out. Yep, we'll get tired. Yep. What else? Think about it. When you're the Amazon factory worker who literally, and this is true, literally had to basically urinate in a bottle because you had no time to go to the bathroom. That's when you squeeze every second, right? When exploitation, yes, become too results oriented, that to the point we forget that there are human beings here. Burnout and high turnover, absolutely, yes, right? It's just not a human way of dealing with humans. And over time, people started to recognize, right? It's funny because when you think about when I was reading the history about the work shifts, right? When work shifts first started, the idea of working in a factory, it was from dawn till dusk. It was 12-hour work shifts. And then they realized that actually, when you bring it back to 10-hour work shifts or 8-hour work shifts, that, oh, wow, we have less mistakes. Oh, wow, people don't get tired as much. Oh, actually, we get better productivity. So there's all this weird approach. We try to think human beings, we try to treat human beings as machines. And unfortunately, along the way, we burn people out, we damage the morale, as Sana mentioned, and it just is not human. And that's why personally, for me, I do not like the definitions of getting things done or output over input or more results, because I feel that's not a human way of defining productivity. Therefore, how are we going to define productivity? And the way we'll do it in our masterclass starting tomorrow. Shout out to those who join us. Whether you join us or not, I would like you to walk away with this definition, because this definition will help you moving forward whenever you struggle with productivity. Number one, how we define productivity is, number one, how much energy levels you have. If you have high energy levels, you're more productive. If low energy levels, you're less productive. Think about it this way. Imagine that if you miss, if you didn't have lunch or dinner or breakfast, or you didn't sleep well the night before, or you've just not been exercising a lot, and you just have that low energy, then you cannot be productive. No matter, I don't care how much time you have. I don't care how much money you throw at you. If you have low energy, you cannot be productive. Let's see if we jump that up a little bit. And let's say you have energy. Right? Alhamdulillah, you had a great breakfast. You had a great, you feel great. You had a good night's sleep and you're ready to take on the day. You sit on your computer and you have like 16 tabs open in front of you. You are following all these rabbit holes. Cyber Monday is on with all those deals. You're like, oh my God, I get this deal. And you're losing focus, right? Again, doesn't matter how much energy you have. If you don't have focus, you cannot be productive. And also, you might have energy and focus, right? You are ready. You want to focus, but you just don't have the time because you're overwhelmed with so many responsibilities. You're overwhelmed, so many deadlines. They just don't have the time. Now, so far, I've defined this from a perspective of physical energy, physical focus, physical time, but also from my perspective, and something we'll talk about a bit more, but there's also spiritual energy, right? That when you have that spiritual energy, the meaning and purpose, when you're driven to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala versus driven simply for material gains. Also think about social energy, the energy you get when you work with other people, when you work in teams versus when you work alone. Focus, there's also spiritual focus. When you're able to focus what's important in the hereafter, what's important for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what's important in your life. And of course, the physical focus is there, the mental focus is there, as well as the social focus, focusing on your friends, on your children, on your parents, on those that also need your focus and attention. There's an article that I'm publishing tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, Giving Tuesday, and we're partnering with LaunchGood to talk about unusual ways of giving. And in the article, I mentioned that we need to not just think about giving money to those around us, but can we give our energy, our focus, and our time to those around us? Because that's also an important way of giving. Also time, right? Spiritual time. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you that extra time, the barakah, we'll talk about barakah today as well. And then that, of course, the actual time, as well as social time. So that's well and good. But let me before I continue here. So you have energy, you have focus, and you have time. Now, if you are struggling with being productive, let's say you find yourself just struggling for something, you're not feeling productive enough, you're not getting things done, you're not moving towards any results, you feel like unproductive for any reason. I always ask the question, which one of these three are you missing? Or which one of these three are you struggling with? Is it energy? Is it focus? Is it time? Usually it's one of these three. Usually, again, there's some cases where it's not these three, but usually these three: energy, focus, and time. And that way, it's a great way to kind of self-diagnose yourself. Okay, what am I missing? Maybe I've not been sleeping well. Maybe I've not been eating well. Maybe I've not just been keeping up with my 5 daily prayers. Maybe I've not given charity in a long time. Maybe I've not focused on the things that really matter in life. Maybe I've neglected my relationships. Maybe I'm overwhelming myself with so many responsibilities that I just don't have time for those things that matter. When you diagnose yourself this way, you can start understanding what's going on. Why am I not being productive? What's missing in my life? So that's the first part. I want to stop here and pause here. Does this make sense so far? Does this make sense so far? I don't want to just plow through and you're like, what? All right, got 1 thumbs up. Make sure, yep, a couple of thumbs up. All right, awesome. Okay, now here's the next part. You have energy, you have focus, and you have time. Now, I have to share a confession about myself. I used to be one of those 16 hours gamers. I used to sit on the game on my PS3 or PS4, I can't remember anymore, for 16 hours straight. And I had to finish that game. I used to love Metal Gear Solid. I got FIFA. I got the whole thing. Anyway, I was into those games, and I would spend energy, focus, and time on that game. The question is, was that productive? Was that productive or not? Depends who you ask, but was that productive in hindsight? All right, it wasn't really, because maybe nowadays at least you make money out of gaming, but those days you made zero money out of gaming. And it was not productive at all. So it's really about, when I say it's energy, focus, and time, it's about you channeling that energy, channeling that focus, and managing and juggling between your energy and focus within the time we have. I will say you cannot manage time. That's another thing I have. The word time management is an oxymoron, because you cannot manage something you don't own. But you can manage your energy, you can manage your focus. So when you manage your energy, when you manage your focus within the time you have, then it's about channeling that towards, this is the next part, living the best version of yourself. Right? Across all your roles. This is not about being productive simply for the sake of work, simply for the sake of the boss, simply for the sake of your income. It's about being productive by saying, can I manage my energy, manage my focus, and within the time Allah has given me, to be the best version of myself across all my roles. When I'm at work, when I'm at family, when I'm with my community, when I'm with myself, when I'm in my prayers, when I'm alone. Can I be productive across all roles? That is the definition of productivity. This is a holistic way of thinking productivity, and that's what we're here to teach. We're not here to teach you things about just get this done, let's squeeze more output input, right? This is about how do I balance my energy, my focus, and within the time I have across all my roles, so I can be the best version of myself. And being the best version, being the best abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being the best slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and just being that person who fulfills the responsibility across all the roles, spiritually, physically, and socially. So typically speaking, when we talk about productivity, normally you would hear things like, all right, when we become productive, let's hack your brain, all right? So hacking the brain means what? This is where you hear things like productive research, like bulletproof coffee, and doing some activities to kind of maximize the focus in your brain, remove the mental fog. And those stuff work. I use those stuff, they stuff work, and they're useful, but they only help you up to a certain extent. Hacking the body, right? How, for example, things like how do you standing, that's sort of sitting all the time, things about, for example, making sure you exercise every day, making sure you nap, making sure you eat certain type of food to ensure your energy levels stay consistent. You don't have that crazy post-lunch, crash. Those are things that work, but they only get you up to a certain point. Also hacking the environment, things like, working next to a large window, for example, and, make sure you have good lighting in your room, making sure that you don't, you're having greenery in your room, having some plants in your office, making sure that the colors in the room help you become productive. These are other ways to hack the environment to help you become more productive. Again, these are all ways. There's some amazing research being done to basically manage to help you boost productivity psychologically, physiologically, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and those stuff work. But my question is, what about the human soul? You see, the problem is that when productive science as a science started growing, and there's research being done to kind of understand how can we boost productivity, all of that science was filtered through that kind of like the Western paradigm of science. And that is, well, if we can't see it, if we can't measure it, therefore we can, basically discuss it basically. So we'll do things about, we'll talk about how to hack your nutrition, or about your psychology, behaviorism, all that stuff, how to boost productivity. But talk about your spirituality, that's a bit fuzzy. No, we're not gonna talk about that. And there's a great book by Dr. Malik Badri, who passed away, may Allah have mercy on him. And he wrote a very powerful explanation that according to human sciences, a lot of human behaviors is explained through three paradigms. These are the paradigm of behaviorism, the idea that human beings are just machines, that when you're exposed to a certain stimuli, for example, if you eat this type of food, if you have this type of coffee, if you have this type of technique, then you'd react and respond which, in a predictable fashion. And that's called the behaviorism method. There's a lot of productivity science that goes into that. A lot of techniques that are used for hacking your body and mind that falls into behaviorism. Also, Freudian analysis, even though has been debunked, but some modern productivity science does rely on Freudian analysis that human behavior is determined by one's unconscious sexual and aggressive impulses. That is also, and there are some books which are written today which do go back to Freud analysis, but also biological determinism. A lot of human behavior is governed by inherited genes, our nervous system, and inborn biochemistry. And that's why biohacking is now the new thing, there's just the new frontier in productivity research. If you look at the latest productivity gurus, they all talk about biohacking. How can you hack your body and to do things like, how can I make sure to optimize my productivity the best, things I could eat, and light therapy, all sorts of stuff to kind of mess up with my biology, basically, to get the most out of it, more productive, get more things done. But as Dr. Malik Badri asked, and very powerfully asked in his book, Contemplation, he said, what about the human soul? Why are we not looking at spirituality as a way for us to understand how to link productivity or any human science, any human behavior that's just not beyond these quote unquote scientific methods? And that's where the work we do at the Productive Muslim Company has been focused on. So past 15 years, we were driven with this question. This is the question that started the Productive Muslim Company. What is the link between spirituality and productivity? And now we've actually expanded to ask that question. What is the link between spirituality and mindfulness, spirituality and wellness, spirituality and confidence? And we have a whole suite of products and services linked to different works. So that's where we are now, understanding the link to spirituality and productivity, and hence what we're going to be basically teaching, inshallah ta'ala. So we've been really excited about this because when we started thinking the link between the two, well, the most common link, the thing that kept popping up in verses of the Quran, in hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in stories of the Sahaba, in stories in Islamic civilization, is this concept of barakah, this concept of more with less. For example, the classic example is, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allahumma barik li ummati fi bukuriha, oh Allah, bless my ummah in its early hours. And every productivity guru out there, you can read all the books, right? The Miracle Morning, the 5 a.m. Club, all the productivity gurus say what? Wake up early. If you want to be productive, wake up early, wake up early. In fact, I remember seeing a video of a well-known productivity guru, which I won't mention his name, and he would be like, guys, wake up in the morning. There's something in the morning. I don't know what it is. There's something special in the morning. I'm like, dude, relax. It's called barakah, right? This idea of barakah in the early hours, about getting things, about this more in the early hours. In fact, the narrator of that hadith who heard that Prophet Muhammad say that, oh Allah, bless my ummah in the early hours, he said he started to send his goods early in the morning and became very wealthy as a result. So idea of barakahs, idea of more with less, idea of us really understanding that, yes, there's things we can do physically, things like I can eat better and sleep better and exercise and make sure I close my tabs and focus, not get distracted, which are working, which are important, which we should study, we should learn, we should practice, but also recognize that there's a whole world, there's a whole almost like dimension of spirituality that we need to tap into that helps us be more, and not just be more or achieve more for the sake of work or for the sake of getting things done, but be more for the sake of us being the best slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala across all our roles, whether at work, whether at home, whether in a community, whether in private, whether in public. And that is where we're going to go with our work, inshallah ta'ala. So if you go back to our definition of productivity, well, we said that productivity is about managing our energy, managing our focus, managing our time. Well, I'm going to redefine this now from the perspective of barakah. Think of us now tapping into this whole other world, right? And the beta factor, right? Barakah in our energy, barakah in our focus, barakah in our time. What would it look like? What would our output look like? When you look at the works of, for example, Imam al-Bukhari, for example, right? And you think to yourself, there's so many different scholars around his time who were trying to collect Sahih hadiths, but his work had special, almost acceptance from Allah Ta'ala. They lasted for so many years. When you think about, books that are written 700, 800 years ago that are still valid today, that is powerful. Even though those days there was no Amazon, there was no Kindle, there was no way to preserve that knowledge, but that knowledge was preserved and lasted. And the impact of the work is still felt today. That's powerful. When you think about, for example, someone starting a charity, which is like a waqf, a trust, which is about 1,000 years old, that's still running till today, right? That is barakah. So I think this idea of really understanding what does it mean to be productive. It's not about just us doing things within our own lifetime and getting things done and feeling a sense of achievement and then dropping dead. It's about making sure there's barakah in our energy, barakah in our focus, and barakah in our time. So whatever output that comes with us, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enables in our hands, it outlasts us. It becomes beneficial to us. It helps us in the hereafter where it truly matters, right? Because if you think about it, this land, the world we're in now, this is where we're going to harvest. This is where we're going to basically plow and work hard and garden, and we're going to harvest our fruits in the hereafter. So being productive is really about you making sure that you are plowing and gardening the right fruits, you're growing and tending to the right plants, so that when the harvest season comes in the akhirah, you can stand for Allah Ta'ala and inshallah Allah accepts you and accepts us all and put us into Jannah inshallah ta'ala. That is barakah. Because you could be very productive in the sense of a very worldly, materialistic, ego-centered approach, but in the hereafter, there's nothing for you. Or you can be productive in a truly meaningful sense, and then hereafter Allah accepts that from you and it becomes very powerful. This is what when we talk about productivity, this is what we're focusing on. This is what we care about. This is what we want. This is what we teach at the Productivity Masterclass. It's not about the get things done, quick hacks. Yes, we'll cover some of that because again, like I said, some of those stuff work and they do work. And I personally use a lot of them. But I'll always be linking you back to this idea of barakah and connecting back to barakah and making sure you implement and be conscious of where you implement these contents. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Or have I lost you? Awesome, appreciate Shabiha and everyone else who give a thumbs up. Okay. All right, so I guess this is a paradigm shift, and the work we do at the Muslim company, I hope, is a paradigm shift to what it means to be productive. This is a way for us as Muslim professionals to redefine what it means to be productive. All of us globally have been going through the COVID pandemic, and you can see the conversation happening now, right? The great resignation. People are just tired of that hustle culture, the culture that says that in order to succeed, you got to work, and you live to work versus work to live. This idea that your work is your identity, your work is your number one purpose in life. Work has almost become a religion for most people because they're willing to sacrifice the religion. They'll sacrifice their prayers, they'll sacrifice their values, they'll sacrifice what it means to be a Muslim for the sake of work. Even among Muslims, right, we always talk about work as the thing that defines us versus being part of our life. I'm not saying work's not important. I'm not saying you should sit back and not work, but it's just this idea of this hustle culture that's really harming us. And most of us who've gone through COVID pandemic recognize just how that work has been completely has overtaken us. And that's why now there's this whole conversation. Let's see where the world goes, because right now everyone's like, yeah, we don't want to be working that crazy before the pandemic, but let's see how things go post-pandemic. But the question, what's the alternative? Because hustle culture, or the culture of hustling, right, which is becoming almost like a way of living, is kind of like what is the narrative that we all grew up with, right? The narrative of just hustling versus what's the alternative. And that's why I'm hoping that as Muslims, we redefine a different approach. We advise people, say, well, what if we approach life differently? What if we approach life from a barakah perspective? What does a barakah perspective mean? It means it's God-centered, that it's Allah-centric first. It means it recognizes that it's going to Allah's akhirah focus. Talk about impact. That's more important than just results. Impact versus results. The idea is it's grateful, it's content, it is hardworking, but is not attached to outcome, versus hustle culture, which is all about, it's all about the ego. It's all about material success. It's all about us getting, being driven by the hustle culture approach. Now, whenever I bring this up, especially I do corporate training, and whenever I do this, the CEOs don't like me bring this slide. Like, oh man, he's like, why did I bring this guy? Talk about hustle culture, because CEOs and company managers, they just want their staff to hustle, right? They want them to be hustling. But I'm like, well, yes, you can hustle at what's expense. Again, to be very clear, barakah culture, both barakah culture and hustle culture, they're both hard work. You've got to be working hard in both cases. However, the why is different. In hustle culture, the why is your nafs, is yourself. The why is who you are. The why is basically basically it's just the material gain and not the ultimate success in hereafter. Barakah culture says, yes, work hard. Be productive, manage your energy, focus, and time well. But remember, you have responsibilities. Remember that you have, that your identity as a Muslim, that comes first and foremost, that you're God-centered, that you're akhirah focused. You try to live this spiritually intelligent lifestyle versus this very, very dunya or worldly lifestyle. And I think that's the kind of key difference here too. And again, we go into a lot more detail in our masterclass, understanding what is the difference between hustle culture, barakah culture. And maybe some of you might have, there's an article I wrote about what is the difference between the two, barakah culture versus hustle culture. And feel free, someone maybe can share in the chat for those who have not read the article. It actually explains this in more detail. So there's this hadith that I think captures the hustle culture that we all live in. And every time I read this hadith, it's just I don't know if you guys felt this or not, but this hadith says the hour will not pass, the hour being the day of judgment, will not be established until time passes rapidly, such that a year is like a month is like a week is like a day is like an hour, and an hour is like the flicker of a flame. How many of us are feeling that right now? How many of us are feeling that right now? All right, yep, I see Thomas there raising hand. Yep, a few of us raising hands, yeah. It's like, sometimes it hits, whoa, it's end of the week already? It's like it's been that fast. It's now the question is, well, some of you read this hadith and think, oh well, that's it, they're just coming, I'm giving up, there's no point even like trying to, versus reckoning, well, what this means is it should almost put a sense of urgency in us to say, well, what if we live a life of barakah, like, so that even if it's a flicker of a flame, it counts. And that's why that hadith, if you all remember, the other hadith says, if the day of judgment starts, right? If you all see the day just beginning, meaning that the sun and the moon is colliding, the whole earth is collapsing, everything's just falling apart, and in the hands of one of you is a date palm tree, plant it. You think, what's the point of planting a tree if the whole world is collapsing? If khalas, day of judgment is starting, like there's no point. He's saying planted. Why is he planted? Because that's our role. We are productive in an impactful way for the sake of Allah to the last minute, right? That's what's important. That even if we put the niyyah to the last minute, we work hard to the last minute for the sake of akhirah. Whether day of judgment is today or tomorrow, it doesn't change that how much we put effort in. So when you read this hadith, don't read this hadith on like, oh well, I guess that's it, time's up. There's no barakah in our time, and there's nothing more we can do about it. Rather, read this hadith as a reminder that, wow, okay, the fact that I'm sensing that time is going so rapidly. 2021, like, whoa, that went really fast. 2020, what was 2020 again? It's like that went really fast. The fast that went so rapidly, that should be a reminder that I need to hold on. I need to really fuse my time with barakah. I need to make sure that every minute counts. I need to make sure that my energy, my focus, my time, the way that I manage my energy and focus specifically within the time I have needs to be at the best possible way. Because even if it's a flick of a flame, that flick of a flame counts. That hour counts. That day counts. That month counts. And that year counts. That's what we need to get at. And I hope that this is clear. I hope that we can start thinking that perspective. Don't read this hadith from perspective of giving up or thinking, oh man, that's it. There's nothing we can do about it. And day judgment starting, might as well just, go with life and see what happens. Read this hadith as an encouragement, as a way of almost like in giving us that himma, started high himma, that high aspiration to say, okay, we'll make every flicker of the flame count by managing energy, focus, and time in a way that's most pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what we'll cover inshallah ta'ala in our upcoming masterclass, inshallah ta'ala. So that is basically our thinking. This is what I share with you. This is how we approach productivity at the Productive Muslim Company. Over the last 15 years, this is the culmination of 15 years of research, of experiments, of working with hundreds of students, helping them become more productive and understanding what it means to be productive in this faith-based approach, not just getting things done, not just about ticking the boxes, but it's about managing energy, our focus and the time with barakah, being the best version of ourselves across all our roles, and literally helping us to effuse barakah with energy focus time so that we can stand in front of the day of judgment, on the day of judgment, and say, oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I've used my energy and the focus and the time you've given me in the way that's most pleasing to you. So now the question, well, how do you practically live this productive lifestyle that is full of barakah? This is what the Productivity Masterclass that's starting tomorrow is all about. As I mentioned to you before, this masterclass starts tomorrow. This is the 14th cohort. We've done this with 14 groups. The approach of this masterclass is a live cohort-based program, because I really believe in the value of people coming in together, going through a program together and graduating together. It just makes the learning much more intuitive, much more fun. I used to have like 1 or 2 days, pack everything in, but I realized that 1 or 2 days is too much. You almost overwhelm people. But versus spreading over 6 weeks, you attend every week, and every week you're gonna come in and you learn a little bit and you practice, and you come in, you practice some more. It really makes the learning much more intuitive, much more deeper. And also when you hear your fellow cohort members coming together, studying together, sharing their wins and challenges, it makes it a much, much more fulfilling experience, inshallah. So 6-week program starts tomorrow. It's about how to manage energy, focus, and time to live that fulfilling life with barakah and without feeling overwhelmed. The framework we're using at the masterclass is this. We're basically saying, all right, we're gonna teach you how to make smart choices with your energy, focus, and time. And for those of you who attend the masterclass, you know this, some alumni are here in the class right now. It's really practical. We try to make it as practical as possible. Yes, there's some theory. Yes, there's some frameworks, but as much as possible, we give you practical tips to manage your energy, your focus, and your time. Why? To live the best version of yourself, spiritually, physically, socially, so across all your roles. Why? So that you can achieve your ultimate purpose of being true abd, true slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the purpose. It's not being productive so you can get the next promotion. It's not being productive so you can, just get things done. It's not productive in the ultimate sense, in the most meaningful sense. And I saw it, this house framework, the foundation of this house is sincerity and hard work. So if you are willing and ready if you're sincere, number one, of making changes, of saying, you know what, I need to overcome some of these productivity challenges. Maybe I'm struggling with my focus. Maybe I'm struggling with my time. Maybe I'm struggling with my energy. Maybe I'm feeling tired all the time. Maybe I'm so distracted. Maybe I don't have habits and routines. Maybe I'm struggling with establishing in my life, the way it's going right now. If it continues this method, it's going to lead to disasters in my health, in my children, in my relationships, in my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you feel that way, then this can be very helpful. Or maybe you're a peak performer. You're someone who's super productive. MashaAllah, like you are super productive, but you're really interested to say, well, how can I almost like expand my peak performance beyond just work? How do I apply being productive with my family, with my children, with those around me, in my spirituality? A lot of people can be very productive at work, but then they struggle when it comes to the relationship. They struggle when it comes to their spirituality. This is a more holistic frame of productivity that I hope will help most of you get to where you want to be spiritually, physically, and socially. There are 6 sessions. The first session, we talk about what does it mean to live the best version of yourself. We'll end with defining what does that mean. We'll go over the Islamic psycho-spiritual understanding of the self. What does it mean? Who are you? And what does that mean? And why that's important when it comes to understanding productivity. We'll talk about the framework in a bit more detail, and we're going to help you define your next best version of yourself. That's the concept I teach at the masterclass. What is the next best version for yourself? Session 2 is about spirituality and your best self. So basically, how does spirituality impact your best self? talk about barakah in more detail, the barakah culture versus hustle culture. We'll talk about that in more detail, and some of the mindsets, values, and rituals that will help you live a life of barakah. Session 3 is all about physical productivity. Again, this is one of those hacks we talk about, but we don't talk about just these hacks from a physical perspective. We also bring the spirituality. For example, we talk about how to manage nutrition, not just in terms of what to eat, what not to eat, but also the basic, the basic productivity, so the spiritual side of things. How to bring barakah in your food? How did the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ eat? How can we live that lifestyle and diet? Those concepts, managing your fitness. Again, not just about exercising and what exercise you do, but what does it mean to exercise with barakah mindset versus exercise you can show off your muscles and just be very ego-centered. Sleep, which will be a huge topic we'll talk about as well. How do you manage your sleep in a way that's meaningful, in a way that actually helps you, in a way that's balances between what I call the Muslim sleep paradox. So I sent the email last week, right? Between the challenge of you staying up all night and praying versus sleeping. Like, people think, well, I struggle with that. Do I stay up all night and do I get up to tahajjud and pray, or do I sleep because I have work next day? How to balance that? We'll talk about those things in more practical ways to manage your sleep spiritually, physically, and socially. Also, session 4, the focus management. So how understanding the root cause of distraction. Why are we distracted all the time? How to manage external, internal, and life distractions. Practical tips to boost focus and building a trusted system to calm your brain. And session 5 is all about basically the managing your time. Sorry, oopsie, let me go back. Session 5 is all about not managing time. We'll actually we use the managing time as a managing yourself within the time you have. How do you plan your day? How do you plan your week, your quarter, your year, and some tools and apps to help you manage time, including how to use a barakah journal for those who have it. Session 6 is all about staying consistent. The biggest question I get whenever we do this masterclass, all right, I got your tips, I got your tools, very helpful, it changed my life, but how to stay consistent? And this is where we're going to bring session 6 about motivation and willpower, why those are overrated, how to use habits, stay consistent, the morning, afternoon, evening routine. Some of you attended my morning routine workshop. You may have got some of that benefit there. And also go over the daily routine of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the kind of the grand finale of this masterclass. This session, like this mass starts tomorrow. And like I said, it's the 14th cohort. And also what you'll get when you sign up is 6 live class sessions to boost productivity. So you can have 6 live sessions, 3 working sessions. So this is new. For those alumni, I'm not sure how many alumni in the room, but if you're an alumni, this is new. And if you're joining us again, what we'll do is we have the teaching sessions where you kind of teach and we kind of teach the content, but I recognize that some people just need more time to implement. So we'll have this dedicated working sessions. We'll get in the class, you'll go into groups and basically just working through some of the content. For example, our first working session will be, how do you practically implement barakah culture in your life? A second session will be, how do you manage your sleep and actually practically manage your sleep? And the third one will be habits, building out your morning, afternoon, evening routine. So we'll have working sessions, we get into groups, actually work together, figure things out. So this is much more, hands-on. This will help you implement what you're learning, because a lot of people struggle with sometimes implementation, or they don't have the time to implement. So the 3 working sessions allows that. And we're testing this out for the first time in this 14th cohort. So if you want to join us, you'll love this session. We have unlimited Q&A time. One thing on Masterclass, students alumni know that I stay as long as you want me until you guys kick me out. So I don't just end the session, all right, bye, I'm done, we're going to go. Normally the sessions last 90 minutes, up to 2 hours, but sometimes it goes up to, depends on the questions, it might last longer. If you have to drop off, no worries. You'll find the recording of the Q&A uploaded within 48 hours. There's a beautiful community, and we have a private channel on our new Slack community, where it's a safe, non-judgmental community space for sharing your wins and challenges. And you'll have, great community of people, including our alumni who keep coming back to our masterclass. This is a favorite feature for a lot of alumni, lifetime access to future updates, meaning that every time we run this masterclass, we invite all alumni back. Say, hey, if you'd like to join us, let us know, and you'll join for free. This is really cool. So you sign up only once, but you can keep coming again and again and again. And we had alumni coming 3, 4, 5 times, not because they didn't learn what they learned from the first time, but sometimes it's that refresher, right? And of course, I have a bad habit or good habit, depends who you ask, of keep changing, tweaking the content, updating the content. Like right now, adding 3 working sessions, because I always think about how can I best teach this content? How can I best make sure this is useful and it's beneficial, and as give as much as I can, because I really, really love teaching this class, and I see, alhamdulillah, just seeing people change and develop and grow is the most satisfying thing in the world, and I ask Allah to accept. So this is a way for us to make sure we keep on reinvesting in you. It's not about just showing up once and then, if you take it, you take it, don't take it, that's it. No, you can keep coming back again and again. Some people come back after 2 years, after 3 years, and just say, okay, I want me just join and see where they are at. And they're amazed at the difference from when they joined, when they came, because we keep on tweaking the content and updating the content. So Lifetime Access is something very powerful. And of course, for those of you who really, really care about this, there is a certificate of completion for those who, once you complete the masterclass. And I've seen people actually use that in their CVs. People use that in their, to job applications, letting people know that, hey, I've invested myself. I've signed up for a masterclass with the production company. And nowadays, there are some organizations that really love the work we do, and they see that as a plus. They see that you are someone who is a self-starter, you learn these techniques, and that means you're way ahead from others as well, inshallah. So that's what's involved. And this is the investment to sign up for this masterclass. It's $450 paying in full, or $75 for paying in installments 6 months. Both exact same price. We don't charge you more for paying in installments. A lot of programs, they charge you more if you pay in installments. We think that's unfair and unethical. We think you should get charged the same amount, whether you pay in full or pay in installments, whatever you feel comfortable, whatever is easy for you. This is the two prices we have on our website. And basically, we stand behind our masterclasses. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. That means you sign up today or tomorrow, you have about 3-4 sessions you can go through. And if you don't like it, no problem. Email us and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. That's fine. We won't question you. We won't make you fill a big form. We'll just refund you. No questions asked. We don't make it painful for you. Just sign up. If you're not interested, ask for a refund. We'll give you the refund, and you can, and within 5 business days, you'll get your money back to the credit card you use, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, we have amazing success stories. If you go to our website, we have videos of people who've come up and said this has really helped them. I'm actually going to play a short video just for those, just for if you want to know more about how this master helped people. And after that, what any questions you might have on the masterclass. But let me just make sure. Yep, that's it. So let me just quickly do that one here. And from there, we can go into masterclass. Bismillah. There you go. Let me know if the audio works.
I'm Fuad. I'm here to share my experience about the Productive Muslim Masterclass.
I am very thankful for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helped me come across this opportunity, because with this course, I was able to solve so many problems at once.
Before the masterclass, I was struggling to stay focused. I lacked energy during the day. I was struggling to keep up and manage different commitments, and also making new habits stick. I'd start with one habit, it would last maybe a few days or weeks, and then I'd be back to square one. Alhamdulillah, I joined the masterclass and it really helped me. It's been a year and I've seen drastic changes in my life.
I now understand how spiritual can be the source of the power of many roles for me as a woman.
Alhamdulillah, it was quite unique as it struck a balance in approaching productivity from the perspectives of this life and the hereafter. It has helped me kickstart this journey towards becoming a next better version of myself.
I found myself pursuing more to live a fitna lifestyle and take advantage of barakah culture, taking leverage on pursuing barakah into my actions.
The thing that mostly influenced my life after this course is that to understand the Tawheed and its aspect in terms of our daily lives. It's very important to understand this.
The most important one for me was when I learned the framework and model of the nafs. This was something new and it laid the foundation for me to start managing myself from a different aspect altogether. I feel like I'm now in better control of myself.
So Productive Muslim provides us with the tools that help us to implement what the Quran teaches us in our particular situation. And we learn that the heart is the king. And if we can have the heart be the king and control the nafs, that will help us in this world and in the hereafter.
The material of training is very comprehensive. The way Coach Paris delivering the training is very engaging, And then the exercise is very applicative.
What also blew my mind is the amount of sincerity and dedication from the Baraka team to give you all the value, to support you all the way. Whatever thing they have in their hands, they can support you with, they will go with you extra miles.
If you haven't heard about Baraka culture, fitna lifestyle before, well, that's one reason for you to take the Productive Muslim Masterclass in the future.
Anyone who's considering taking this course, inshallah, you take that leap and start your journey to become the next best version of yourself.
Alrighty. Okay, so that was from the alumni. We have so far over 550 alumni, over 14 cohorts have gone through this masterclass. And alhamdulillah, so this is since this master started in about a couple of years now. And we have completed this, the 14th course coming up, and we hope to continue as long as Allah gives me life. And if we can, make this work continue for a long, long time as well. So I hope to see some of you, whether this sessions or this masterclass tomorrow on future sessions. So quick recap, and then we'll ask Q&A. Starts tomorrow. It's gonna Tuesday, 24th of Rabi' al-Thani, go Hijri, 30th November, 6 p.m. US Central Time. If you're not sure what time that is in your local time zone, if you go to the link that I put in the chat, check there. There's a local time. You can click on that. It gives exactly where your local time zone will be. It's a 6-week program, help manage your time, energy, focus, and time. In fact, the class starts exact same time as today. So same, if you could show up today, they can show up tomorrow, same time today. You get 6 live sessions, 3 working sessions, which is brand new. We're excited about this one. Only Q&A time after each session, private online discussion forum, lifetime access to future updates of masterclass, and certificates of completion. It's all for $450 for registration, or 6 monthly installments for $75. And of course, it comes with our money back guarantee. So I'm going to end here and ask if there's any questions you have about the masterclass starting tomorrow, anything you would like to ask. I'm here for another few minutes, inshallah, and we're going to go from this. If you'd like to either raise your hand or type in the chat, I'm here to answer your questions, inshallah. Thoughts, any questions before we start? All right, Bismillah, go ahead, Thomas, Frenson.
Brother Mohammed, can you tell some more about working sessions? Are they kind of in between the live classes or afterwards or different times?
Love it. So the working sessions will be held, so between every 2 sessions, so we'll have 2 live teaching sessions and then 1 working session. 2 live teaching sessions and 1 working sessions. But we'll finish everything within the 6 weeks. So there'll be an extra day. So even though it'll be like our class will be live on Tuesdays, the working sessions will be on Thursday. So every other Thursday, we'll have the live working session, same time. And the way they will work is that we'll have a specific work we have to do during that session. For example, for the first working session, I'll be working with you on how to implement Barakah culture in your personal life. Because we kind of go over Barakah culture and hustle culture in theory. We're going to talk about different things, but we don't have time to actually work through it. So we'll actually use the Barakah culture cards for those who have the cards. If you don't have the cards, no worries. We'll give you like an infographic with the cards. And basically, you're going to be working on figuring out, okay, what are the mindsets, values, ritual you want to implement in your life to help bring more barakah? What are the sources of barakah you experiment? What practical way will this work? So that will be the working session. So you'll get into groups, you'll work through the exercise. I'll be going, imagine like being in a training room. I'll be going around different groups, answering questions, and have a debrief. It's kind of like we did with a morning routine for those who attended the morning routine workshop. What we did there is more like hands-on. And that is, so you walk away with something that you say, okay, I spend this 90 minutes working through this and I have a better understand how this works. And then we'll have 2 more live sessions and have another working session and then 2 more a lot of live sessions. Again, we're experimenting this year. This is for this group. So we're not sure if this is the best way of doing it, but I'm hoping that having the working sessions in between the 6 live sessions will help us make sure that you take time to implement instead of just going through 6 weeks of training and then realizing, whoa, I'm just overwhelmed with the content. I'm not sure how this applies in my life. Is it good, Shepard?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, thank you, brother. I'm really looking forward to these sessions. I think it's a very valuable add-on, inshallah.
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. So we have this, a question, what is the location classes? All online. So this is online. Thank you to COVID. So yeah, these classes sessions are held online. So they're on Zoom. Basically, we do have ways to make it more engaging, including my famous overhead camera. We have, ways to make it more engaging, but it's all in, all online. So please feel free to join inshallah for that. These are not in person. yet. That's a different story. The in-person stuff will come later. All righty. All right, Jazakallah khair. Dora, thanks for joining us. Just, Amina, sure, if you're an alumni of our masterclass, then yes, you can sign up for the masterclass as for free because you're alumni. Alumni can join for free. And then we'll send you an email when the working sessions happen. You just decide to join then. So we will send you, if you're alumni, you can just join, just make sure you sign up for this cohort so you can become officially part of the cohort. And then you'll get the reminder emails. You don't have to attend the live classes. We can join just the working sessions. But I would recommend for you to kind of also go into the live class session, the teaching classes, because I do sometimes change the content, Amina. So inshallah ta'ala, we go on that. All righty. Awesome. Thank you, Amina. Yeah. Any other question? Any other question? Going once. Feel free to put it up in the chat or raise your hand. Going twice. All righty. All right. Well, thank you. Oh, duration. There you go. Fariza, duration is officially, we say 90 minutes, but I would budget 2 hours for that because even though we do aim to finish 90 minutes, having said that, sometimes we do go over and our Q&A sometimes lasts a lot longer than that. So officially 90 minutes, but we go out to our 2 hours. I would just budget 2 hours to be on the safe side. If it's difficult for you to stay the whole 2 hours, like I said, we do upload the content to our platform within 48 hours. One thing we do, and we started doing about 3 cohorts ago, we break up the content into small bite-sized pieces to make it easier for you to consume the content. Because a lot of people, like, watching a 2-hour recording is painful. Trust me, I know. I don't like watching 2-hour recording. So for example, if you, let's say you attend the first half or the first 1 hour and you miss the last half, instead of having to watch the 2-hour recording, we'll actually break it up for you. So you just go in and find a part that's missing and you just jump and watch that particular part. Or if you just want to check out the Q&A part only, because you jump and watch that. So we have both. We'll offer both, the full recording and we'll offer the one that's divided up, just to make the learning experience easier. We're really keen to make the learning experience, as practical as possible. I just found the class starts tomorrow. Do we prepare anything after we sign up? No, just show up. Just show up, Ahmed, and you'll be fine. Again, there's no pre-read material. Some people, they love to read my book as part of the masterclass. I don't, in person, even though some content is aligned with the book, but this book was written 6 years ago now. And I'll be honest with you, some stuff has been way updated, right? Things change, more researchers come out. So even though, yes, the book is still relevant, the principle is still there. And in general, this book has all 80% of the content, but there's still more stuff that I have not covered in this book, which I share in the masterclass. So you don't have to read anything. Just show up to the class tomorrow and we'll walk you through what needs to be done to shout out. Okay. Any other question? All right, going once. Going twice. All righty, barakallah feekum. Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope you found this useful. Whether you join us or not, I hope you just found this useful. Hope I helped to shape and rethink what it means to be productive, what it means to live a better version of yourself, that productivity is not about just getting things done. Productivity is about managing our energy, our focus, and our time in the way that's most pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that brings barakah in our time, so that even though time might fly quickly, we'll make every flicker count by Allah's permission, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you so much. May Allah put barakah in all your time. May Allah bless you all for being here. May Allah make this knowledge beneficial. And for those of you joining us tomorrow, we're looking forward to welcoming you in the 14th cohort. And for those who are not joining us, I also wish you, inshallah, join our future programs and future webinars, inshallah ta'ala. We do have lots of resources on our website, articles, and lots of cool stuff we have on our website. So you don't have to just, we don't only have masterclass, we have lots of things that are useful. So please subscribe to email list. Always keep, we send quite a lot of email. So please sign up and we'll send you more about how to live a life that's for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that's meaningful, and how to connect spirituality to productivity, to mindfulness, to personal and professional development. Barakallah feekum. Subhanak Allahumma hamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much for joining.